Hello. Welcome in. I'm Tara, Professor Tara, and I am here representing Hillmantok for our series in journaling and mental health and wellness. I'm going to get right to it because we don't have a lot of time. Hello, Bonnie. Hi, Stephen. Welcome in. If y'all can get me started with some taps on the screen, I would love taps. Also, sharing is very appreciated. Sharing is caring. If you want to become a subscriber, you hit the star up there to do that, but any gift you give is appreciated. When we offer these classes, we do offer them gratis. So anything that you do is helpful. So I'll get right to it. So if you have looked at the content, I'm so grateful. The content that I put up on my website, or excuse me, not website, on my TikTok content gives you a snapshot of what this class is about. I have content from last week and I also have content from this week about journaling. A few really important points. This is journaling for mental health and wellness. So if that's where you're intending to go, you're in the right place. A bit about me. I'm a mental health therapist in private practice. I'm multi-state licensed. I am a TED speaker. I'm author of 8 children's books that range from early reader to young adult. Every single day of my life, I'm helping people with their mental health. There's not a day that I don't help people with their mental health. And words have a big part of it. So why are words important? Well, if I wasn't talking to you right now, that'd be difficult for you to understand what I'm saying. Words have so much value, right? And when we put them in, hi, Marco Polo, when we put them inside of a book to preserve for ourselves, is even better, right? It makes a bigger difference. Thank you so much for that, Hurt Me. I appreciate that kind of love this morning. Thank you. So if we think back to what I talked about last week with the ancient ways of preserving milestones and memories is journaling, right? We can still do that. The thing about words that I really want to cover too, and I'm going to talk about this in the next class too, is that we take in words early in life. Like we're taught how to say different, just one word, little snippets. When someone says mama for the first time, if you're the mama, you are ecstatic. When someone says dada for the first time, if you're the daddy, you're ecstatic. We always preserve that first word. Why is that important? Because words have power. When I was growing up, I was taught sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. And as a grown up, I'm telling you, as a grown up, as a professor, I'm telling you, as a grown up, as a mental health clinician, I am telling you that is incorrect. If words have power, that means they have the power to empower you and to disempower you. We have to decide which one we want to go with. So words do have power, absolutely. But how will we use those words to our benefit? How will we use those words to the best of our ability? And I think the best way to use words is to write them down. I think the best way to use words is to write them down. So if we're looking to improve our mental health and our wellness, there's a lot of different things that we can do. One of the things I recommend to a lot of my clients is to write down the kind words that people say about you. That stranger that says, I like your smile. That's a nice dress. Or, you always get the person who's thoughtful that says, you're wearing that dress, Write that down. If it's encouraging to you, write it down because there's enough tear downs that you have already memorized and inscripted here to combat that, right? So you want to make sure you're preserving the good because you already got the bad on lock. Victor, thank you for those taps. I see you. And remember, y'all can get your heart me's and all the things, okay? Please and thank you. I will tell you that as a young person, a lot of people might remember unkind words that have been said to them. Maybe someone has called you a certain name or said something about you and that's stuck. So then other people are saying those things about you. And it's becoming so much of a pattern that you believe it about yourself. Here's the tricky things when it comes to words. If somebody says something negative about you or disempowering about you, especially foundationally earlier in life, that can become part of your belief system about yourself. And that's why journaling is so helpful. You can write about those painful things. You can write about how much that harmed you, but also pay attention to how you use that against yourself. So I asked everybody to look up a feelings list. That's some of the homework I gave. And if you have not done that, do it. It's helpful for you. It's helpful for you. There are so many emotions. There's over 544 plus feeling words online. But the one I want to deal with today, I'm going to use fear. I'm going to pick the word for us. I'm going to ask you to think about the word fear, and I'm going to ask you to journal about the word fear. Now, there's a specific exercise we're going to do on that. But before we get into it, I want you to think about journaling on a more intent level. I want you to think about journaling from the aspect of the angst of it. When we're talking about fear, are you fearful about journaling? Are you fearful about having a journaling practice? Does that specific emotion stand out to you and make you feel some sort of way? If so, that's something that you can write down right now, your first inscription. You can write that down right now, okay? This is the DSM. This is our current DSM. Basically, a DSM is our Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Health Disorders. Every therapist should have an updated copy of this in their arsenal, in their toolbox, because we have to know what's going on. So if you could fill up a book this thick, you see this? If you could fill up a book this thick with mental health disorders, shouldn't we be able to fill up a book at least half as thick with positive words or words in general about how we're feeling about ourselves? Shouldn't we be able to fill up a couple of books about our own feelings and emotions? If a book is this thick of mental disorders, shouldn't we be able to combat that energy with something that really helps our mental health? Mental health is so important. If your mental health is not good, then your physical health will suffer as well. There's a lot of people that feel like, well, I don't get to go to a therapist, but I go to the gym. Well, the gym is not just helping your physical. The gym is also helping your mental. And that is the same thing. Hi, Paris. That is the same thing that journaling does for you, right? Think of it as your mental gym. It all works together. So what do we do when we have all of these words that we want to put down on paper? And tell us more about that, you might be saying. Well, I grabbed this book really quick. This is actually the Anthology of Rap. So think backwards to like 1970s Brooklyn, the Bronx area, where young kids had a lot of emotions. They took away music in school. They took away the instruments. I mean, we had greats on the piano, on the horns, on the drums, and they took that away. So now what? You know, how do you sing if you have no microphones, right? That's really important. But then came this thing called rap, which is actually a play on poetry, right? Right? Rhythm and poetry. That's what rap is, rhythm and poetry, if you did not know that. So you think about that. But did they just recite? I know nowadays a lot of people talk about freestyle, but they were writing these words down. Journaling is what that's called. Did that help mental health? Absolutely. When you get something taken away from you, when you go through a span of grief, to be able to write down exactly what you're feeling and to make it a work of art is the best revolution against something that's depressing you, that's making you feel sad, that's making you feel unseen, that's making you feel unheard, that's making you feel unloved. You understand what I'm saying? I hope you do. This is a book that I suggested for everybody to get. It is The Journals of Alice Walker. Gathering Blossoms Under Fire is the name of it. This is all of her journals from 1962 to 2000. Can you imagine somebody's journals being encapsulated, and for her vulnerability and sharing those with us? You don't have to share your journals. If you choose to, that's fine. You do not have to. But for someone deciding that they're going to with us, what a beautiful thing. What a beautiful thing for us to be able to experience, to be able to read, to be able to understand her life. And maybe, just maybe, somebody will look at your journals and think, wow, look at what Tara had to say. Markeisha says, I ordered the book from Harriet's Bookshop in Philly this morning. Yay, Markeisha. So glad about that, Markeisha. Thank you so much. Let's make sure that we're celebrating Markeisha today for getting that book ordered. It's a great book. And yes, finding out the place to order it is just as important. I have another book for you I want to show you, okay? And we're going to use this one today. This is called Healing Through Words by Rupi Kaur. The exercise that I want us to do is I want us to do letter writing, and we could do that right now. So I always ask y'all to bring something to write with and bring something to, something to write with and something to put the writing on, okay? So I asked you to think about the word fear. I'm picking the emotion for you in this exercise today. If you were to write a letter to fear, what would you say to fear? If you were to write a letter to the emotion of fear, what would you say? So when we talk about mental health, if you think fear isn't at the root of a lot of mental health issues, you may be incorrect. When fear goes to the extreme, we get anxious thoughts, we get panic, we get worry, we get consumed, we can't move, flight, freeze. You understand. Yeah, you understand. Flight, all of those things embodied in fear. What scares you? What's stopping you from being the best that you can be? Write that down. Tell fear what you really think about it. Tell fear how you feel about it. Can somebody write in the comments a line to start our Dear Fear? Let's do a collaborative lesson right now. If you were to write Dear Fear, what would you say? Start with Dear Fear and what you would say to fear. Now remember, we have TikTok friendly language, so some things you cannot say. Okay, Markeisha started at Dear Fear. All right, Markeisha, thank you so much for that. Dear Fear, what will we say to fear? That's really important for us to understand. You are not friendly to me. Love it. Dear fear, you are not friendly to me. I love that. I'm going to go next. Dear fear, you are bigger in my mind than you are in reality. We're telling fear about itself, y'all, today. And you can do this in your journal to anything, to any emotion. But today we're dealing with fear because a lot of people don't get started because they're scared. And I'm going to go back to the beginning. Why are they scared? Because of the messages they were told when they were younger that said, you can't do it. You won't do it. Do you know who you are? Do you know who you are not? You are not capable. Look where you came from. Look where you live. Look what you eat. Look what you wear. Look what you look like. Look at your hair. You are not good enough. And we tell that word of fear that is not true. We are fearful because of the things that people told us that we are not. You understand what I'm saying to you? We are fearful because of the things that people told us that we can't do. But fear does not have to overtake us. We can do it scared. We can do it afraid. Okay, Markeisha says, Dear Fear, why do you interfere in my dreams and aspirations? Dear Fear, why do you interfere? That is a whole bar. Take that in. Thank you, Takia, for those likes. I appreciate you. Dear Fear, why do you interfere? I think that Markeisha just gave us something beautiful. Markeisha, that sounds like the beginning of a beautiful poem in your journal and maybe published. Dear Fear, why do you interfere in my progress? Mind your own business, fear. I've got things to accomplish. Don't try to hold me back, fear. By showing me pictures of the past, I reflect to learn from my mistakes, not to get stuck. Look at us. These things can go in your journal. And I know we're spitting some bars right now, but let me tell you something. It doesn't have to be poetic. When you're trying to encapsulate your mental health, I want you to pinpoint the emotion that is holding you back. Maybe that's worry based in fear. Maybe that's anxiety based in fear. Maybe that's the, what do we call it? Imposter syndrome. Do you know where that comes from? Root feeling, fear. Markeisha says, fear, I just want to be happy. And we can't let fear steal our happiness or our joy. My mom always says, don't let nobody steal your joy, Tara. And I smile in spite of fear. And you smile in spite of fear. And you write, although fearful. You might feel like, oh man, I don't want to come to this class. Maybe you got bad grades in writing classes growing up. Maybe you were the person that got made fun of because your handwriting's not so great. Maybe you have a learning disability and your words don't come out the way that people want them to come out, that are understandable. You are welcome in this class because fear is not going to tell you you don't belong here. You understand what I'm saying to you? You get to have a journal. You get to use your words in the best way that you can. And when you don't feel like writing words anymore, guess what? You can paste a picture, because journaling for mental health and wellness is not just about using sentences. It's about using depictions. I showed y'all last week my junk journal. You don't have the best handwriting? It makes you feel insecure? Paste some pictures. Use some stickers. Put your family in there. Use some textures, okay? These things help us. These things help us. You know, our friend Anna was talking about the dopamine menu, and she said she got it from her class that she's in, and I wanted to show y'all my dopamine menu. This is like a little bit about that. In my journal, it says, get your daily dose. Let's talk about the neurotransmitters. Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins. Those are your feel-good neurotransmitters, right? They're going to make you feel better. Hey, Tom, I see you. Hey, Joan. So dopamine. How do you get dopamine? Thank you for that heart, me. I so appreciate it. How do you get dopamine? You create art. Guess what journaling is? Creating art. Setting goals. You can put those in your journal. Having gratitude. A gratitude journal is a beautiful thing to have. You understand me? Self-care. Write down what you did to care for yourself right in this moment. Actually, I'm going to ask you guys, what did you do to care for yourself today? Thank you, Tom. What did you do to care for yourself today? One thing that you did to care for yourself today. I'm just curious of how we're taking care of ourselves today. Is there anything that we're doing? I hydrated. I gave myself some electrolytes today. I sure did. What did you do? Did you do some affirmations? How are you taking care of yourself? This is a quick class, y'all. It's only 30 minutes. Tom says hydrated. That works. That works. Listening to music. Music will help. Markeisha says, I stayed in bed for a couple of extra minutes this morning. Rest is resistance. Rest is best. Tom, thank you so much for those rosas. And thank you for being the title gifter of the rosas. I appreciate you. Thank you. Finishing a task is self-care. All of those will provide that dopamine for you. And then here we have oxytocin. Stroking a pet. Y'all got pets? I don't have a pet, but I have beautiful plants. Time with friends and family. All of these things you can also write about, everybody, okay? Giving compliments. Holding hands with somebody. You got somebody in your life you can hold hands with? Markeisha says, I have a cat and plants. That works. Tom, thank you for those donuts. Thank you for those donuts. They mean the world to me. Thank you so much. Long hugs. Those hugs that are just so tight. Having a message. Having a message. Sharing feelings. Tom, thank you so much. What is that? Celebrate, get time, come on, let's celebrate. Level up sparks. That's beautiful. Thank you. How about, so that's an oxytocin. Let's go to serotonin. We've heard the word. Let's talk about what it is. Remember, all of these that I'm talking about are neurotransmitters, because this is a journaling class, but it's journaling for mental health and wellness. We're not just journaling. We're journaling for mental health and wellness. Markeisha says, my preteens don't want a hug now. You know what you can do, though? Let me tell you something. You can hug yourself. And Markeisha, this is a hug for you. I hope you feel it, love. You can write about it. Tara gave me a hug today from the screen. How poetic are you? That's for you. Your teens don't want a hug. I gave it to you. And you won't get any of my cooties, right? Hey, LaShonda. Serotonin. Enjoying the outdoors. Now, it's cold outside, but there's some fresh air we can get from being outside. And vitamin D. Aerobic exercise. Anything that moves your body. You don't have to be like Simone Biles. You can jump on a trampoline, though, because I did this morning. I sure did jump on a trampoline. I jump on a trampoline every day, and then I write about it. Tom, thank you for renewing your subscription. Thank you, Tom. I'm going to write you down for our drawing on Friday. Y'all, when you get your subscription, we do a drawing on Friday. We're trying to get to 50 subscriptions, and we're really close. Thanks, Tom. Meditating. You can meditate and write about your experience meditating in your journal. Taking a cold shower or a hot shower or a sensory shower. Y'all, get some bath beads. Get some body scrubs. Showers can be a beautiful experience. I'm all about that shower layering. Oh, it's amazing. And you smell all good. Like all the sensory is included, y'all. All of it. Hey, Nene, welcome in. Gardening. Now, listen. You can't do that outdoors if you live in Michigan right now. But hear me out. One of my subscribers mentioned that she gardens in pots, right? Hey, Za. So my family's going to start a cucumber plant garden next month. So hold me accountable on that. And I'm going to write about it in my journal. And then going for a walk in nature. Nature's still out there even when it's cold. Now let's get to our endorphins, okay? And again, this is all in my journal. Did I use my handwriting for this page? I did not. I did not use my handwriting for this page. I don't want y'all to get intimidated by any of this. Markeisha says on Sunday, I baked chocolate chip banana muffins. I want one, Markeisha. I want a baked chocolate chip banana muffin. I know people send their teachers apples. Can I get a baked chocolate chip banana muffin? One for my son too, because he's greedy. And whenever I get something, he wants it too. So I either give it to him or I got to split half. I want that. When you do that, Markeisha, let's talk about how you can make that an amazing journal entry for your mental health and wellness. Okay. The process of putting all those ingredients together, right? The process of putting all those ingredients together, putting them in the pan and then smelling it. Write about every sensory aspect of it. We have 5 senses, right? Smell, taste, touch, hearing, and what's the other one? And sight. Your experience baking those chocolate chip banana muffins can cover the 5 senses. Write about that in your journal. It's beautiful. Hey, Leah. And then, okay, so endorphins, y'all. Somebody's comments got filtered. I don't know who they were, but they got filtered. It wasn't me. It was on TT. So exercise, laughing with friends. I love a good laugh, y'all. If you ain't got no friends, and that's okay, because it's hard out here. You can't be trusting everybody. If you have an issue with friends, laugh at a stand-up comedy show or something like that. Find something funny to laugh about today. Watching comedy is helpful. Creating music or art, using aromatherapy oils, intimacy, all of that, right? There is no writing from me on this page. I want to encourage those people who are like, but Tara, my handwriting, but Tara, the structure of my writing. Don't worry about it. Find something you love and tap it in there. I went to go see Janet Jackson in the summer. You think that there's not a whole lot of Janet Jackson in that big old junk journal? There is. Journaling for mental health and wellness looks like whatever you want it to look like. When I tell you to write that letter to fear, your letter might be a whole bunch of words that you paste out. You understand what I'm saying? It might be a picture of something that you paste out. Markeisha says, I've been watching A Different World on Netflix because that was a favorite show when I was a kid. Markeisha, my family started watching that too, love. We got real excited. We watched the first season, which is very different. I know my parents love me. And then we start watching the new one. And I don't know if I want to imitate Aretha. I know my parents love me. So different, but both words. We love the show. We love that, Markeisha. But those first words, my son clings to those words. Listen, he's 11, but we're teaching him the old shows, okay? When you watch an episode, Markeisha, since it is one of your favorites, do yourself a favor. Write about how you feel after you watch each episode. You don't got to write a lot. Just write about how you feel after you watch each episode. Thank you. Thank you. I like your vibes too for telling me you like my vibes, Miss CC. I appreciate you. Do that for yourself. You will be surprised. You can make a journal. Listen, y'all. We don't have to do what other people tell us to do. We can be creative. You can make a different world journal. You can make a Hillmantok journal. Put your classes in there. Put your episodes of Different World, how you feel about them. I think I'm going to do that with you. Can we do that together? Markeisha, thank you for the taps. You don't have to have one journal. You can have them for different purposes. You can have a journal that's just for your TV shows, but journaling is good for you. It's a release. It pops into all those neurotransmitters I just told y'all about. Do y'all remember the 4 neurotransmitters? Dopamine, serotonin, endorphins, oxytocin. Those are free. In your mind, built in. They bring you joy. You don't got to do nothing bad. You don't got to do nothing illegal to make those things pop up in your brain. You go for a run. You write it down. Double boost for you. You didn't spend any money. You understand what I'm saying? So those things are super, super helpful. But this is a really good book called Healing Through Words by Rupi Kaur. I would suggest you add this to your suggested list. It has so many exercises in it for your mental health and for journaling. But writing that letter to fear, let's talk a little bit about that. Let's dig in deep, okay? I want you to do this on your own time, and I would love it if you come back and tell me how it goes for you. You don't got to, though. You don't owe me nothing, okay? I decided to get here on TikTok and talk to you, right? So you don't owe me anything. But let me tell you a few things that you can do, a few writing prompts that I think are really important. We only have 5 minutes in this segment left. So I want to give you some good homework and directives and practicals you can do in your journal when it relates to those emotions. Now, I gave you fear today, but you can choose other emotions too. There are feelings lists I asked y'all in a lecture to look up. Okay, I'm going to show you. I looked up feelings lists. This is 544 feelings words. Okay, just a few of them: willing, wise, abandoned, agony, anger, heartfelt, hesitant, hopeful, persevering, possessive, protective, youthful, woozy. You understand what I'm saying? And our word of the day is reflect. There are so many words you can use. You can fill up a book as big as a DSM with this. I'm telling you what, okay? But if we write a letter to our emotions, pick an emotion, okay? You can write a letter to those specific emotions and say, fear. Why do you hurt me? Anger. Everybody tells me that I'm you, but I'm not. I experience you, but I'm so much more than you. I appreciate you pulling my coattails, telling me when somebody's around me that shouldn't be, and they're saying something that hurts my feelings. But I don't want to just be you, anger. I need you to take a step back so I can get to some other things, because you're not primary in my life. You're here because some other feeling that I have has gotten tripped. Anger, you're here because of fear. That's just an example. That was a freestyle, y'all. Now, I am a writer by trade. But do you understand what I'm saying? You can write a letter to those emotions. Some other things you can do for prompts. And all of that was me. But now I'm going to get into the section from Rupi. Listen, y'all. Set a timer for 15 minutes. You can write a letter to the person whose touch hurt you. Write a letter to the person whose touch hurt you. That could be the little boy in class that smacked you in the face. That could be the teacher that pinched you. That could be somebody at the Thanksgiving table that you don't want to see again. Write a letter to your father from the perspective of your 7-year-old self, okay? You can write a letter to your 9-year-old self from the perspective of your 80-year-old self. You can write a letter to a traumatic memory or a moment. You can write a letter to self-doubt. You can write a letter to the parts of you that are still hurting. You can write a letter to your mom when she was pregnant with you from the perspective of your unborn self. Okay? This is mine. I got to work on it, y'all. I got to work on it. When I write, okay? But those are some things that you can do. Take some time to examine your feelings. Take some time to examine your emotions. Set timers. Say, I'm going to journal for 10 minutes and just write and see what happens. I did that this past summer. I was journaling. I was at a writing retreat, actually. It was a working writing retreat. And I gave myself a timed exercise. And after a while, I was like, I ain't got nothing else to write. And then it kept flowing. It kept flowing. So I did have more to write. That's why you time yourself, okay? When I was done, it was a really nice thing for my mom. So I called her and I read it to her. And she told me in that moment, someone was just very cruel to her. And she needed to hear all of those words I gave her. If that's not serendipitous, I don't know what is. Your words have what? We're back to the beginning. It's like a Shonda Rhimes monologue. Your words have power. That's how we started. Your words have power. Alice Walker's journals. Remember, 1962 to 2000. This is a book of power from Alice Walker that she shared with us. I told you about this anthology of rap. Where did rap come from? From people saying, no more horns in the school, no more drums. We don't want y'all being creative. They wrote it down. They put it in their notebooks. This is power. This is power. And this is a whole book of disorders. We are fighting this book of disorders with our power of writing. I hope that y'all enjoyed it. I'm going to go ahead and end this one now, and I'll come back for the children's book, Aspiration Through Self-Care. I hope that y'all can make it. Take care and be well.